Hello, I'm Blaise Sopiwnik. I'm a coach here, was a coach and a student, and I've spent my whole life here raising a family. And there's so many things that come to mind when I think of Northland College as a place that's super meaningful and powerful from both an academic standpoint, athletics, and the region. Um, I was a student who tapped maple trees back in the ravine. I always had a sugar camp since I was a kid. And there was so much potential for me here because there was this connection to a natural place in a region, and I was an athlete, and I was able to come here when they first started Northland cross country running. And I shared that passion with a lot of people here throughout the years as an admissions counselor and a coach here. This was a really amazing place to blend academia with this connection with the place, and spending my days knowing that professors would understand that if I had a snow day, I was going to go telemark skiing and work twice as hard to make sure that the assignments were in on time and of a certain quality. And that just set the stage for me, that I knew that there was this opportunity here at Northland College. There's very few places in the upper Midwest you can do all the things I was able to do here, with Lake Superior being the backdrop and professors that cared on multiple levels of academics and lifestyle. I think another aspect that I'd like to bring out as far as the student athlete perspective, I never saw the division between the athletes and the non-athletes at this campus. And I've always wanted to bring that closer together and be a spokesperson for that. And I have done that as a coach, and I've done that as an admissions counselor, and it's been super meaningful process. But it's an ongoing process. And I think as we move forward, looking at what Northland is going to be, and we don't know, but I just want to hopefully know that there's a way to bridge that. And hanging out in the ravine, cooking maple syrup, writing term papers, and coming out, and I had the great fortune of running cross country here. It really, it never was one or the other. I hope that people can see that and see that potential as we grow into something. It's hard for me not to reflect on what was and what will be in this scenario, because there's so much that we're going to know in the future that is still to be defined right now. And I just hope we can all come together and get groups of people to see the potential. If there was one word that I think we all need to understand here at Northland, is that there's so much potential here. Once you've been a student at Northland and you understand the value of the region, there's always room to go out and bring more experience after college and get master's degrees and doctorate degrees, but there's always an option to be a citizen here. And I don't know very many colleges in the country that have that kind of connection and that kind of place-based education connection. It's really hard to find. But Northland for me was like an absolute one of a kind. And I transferred in from another liberal arts college in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And the culture here was so dynamic in comparison for the number of students we had here. We had so many groups represented. The students are forward thinking in a way that's pretty unique. And they don't get put in stereotypical boxes of, I'm just here to study this. They're generalists in the best way, and they're dynamic people you want to hang out with and work with. In the climate we're in right now, I think, and as an admissions counselor I was 3.5 years as an admissions counselor and associate director, I felt that paramount to that messaging when I'm looking for a student and looking for a fit. Speaking truth to the strengths that we have was so important. That college investment, whether you're a student or a student athlete, it doesn't matter. You have to understand your role in a community. Every small college in the country is getting cross-examined right now for what is your mission? How are you going to contribute? And so defining that fit is so important at the front end. Sports has always been a metaphor for organizing as a team to accomplish shared goals. When you're an athlete, that shouldn't mean you're only an athlete. That the principles of being an athlete should transfer into that college community. You'd have to be living in a really dark and small hole somewhere to not be 18 years old and not want to be a part of a business model for sustainability, whether it be climate change, alternative energy. I mean, there's so many businesses out there springing up to address the climate and just general economics in this country. AI is redefining everything we understand about our personal value structure. But if we don't define who we are sustainably as a human group, bringing people forward that are going to be the next leaders, the shared messaging is so integral. And maybe it's way easier said than done, but I think there's a lot of ground that can be built upon there. We have to think a little differently about business. But we need the fundamentals of business to be very sound, but you would need to think of it in terms of what does this college really have at its core? And that is, messaging around sustainability, the lake, or shared resources.